There, Jen.
All right, welcome everybody. In the interest of time, I'd like to get this meeting called to order. First of all, I'd like to welcome Aaron Fulton here on the end. He is our board counsel. He'll be joining us from here on the board business meeting. So welcome, Aaron.
Thank you.
And next is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like all of the students in the audience to lead us in that this evening, please. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move that we adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
First up is our student reports. Do we have a representative from Skyline here this evening? Come on up. Introduce yourself, please.
My name's Ariana Burden. I'm the student at school at Skyline. So this week is really busy. We've had our homecoming week this week. And the theme for this homecoming week is Disney. So our coronation is tomorrow, and that's during school. So we have an assembly for that. And we take, I think it's 4 couples from each grade, and we nominate them as royalty, and then we we vote on who wins. And then they get to be in the parade, which is on Friday at 1. If anyone is allowed to attend, it should be really fun, unless it rains. It won't be that fun. Our homecoming football game is on Friday at 7 against Hillcrest. And our dance is on Saturday. The theme for that is Cinderella Dreams Wish of Her Makes, and it's at the Brickyard. So that'd be super fun. Coming up, we have our carnival that we have every year. It's on the 28th, 6 to 8 p.m. So our school's been doing a thing called Hope Squad, and basically that's just like our students' mental health, and they like spread cheer on the school. The counselor for that, Luana Wells, if you have questions for her about it. And then we started a new thing, well not new, but we started a thing that we used to do and then stopped doing called Kristen. That's where we take like a student from each class that is nominated by their class, and we just like inform them on what's going on in our school, and they go back to their class and tell them what we tell them. And yeah, it's just to keep everyone informed and make sure that everyone knows what's going on in our schools.
Any questions? All right. Good luck at homecoming games this weekend. Thank you. Idaho Falls High School. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Miriam Smith, and I'm a student body representative. So over the last month, the student government has been up to welcoming students back to school and getting ready for all of our upcoming fall events. We helped plan a freshman day to help new students get acclimated to their new school, and we were able to help these students out with finding their classrooms and also leading tours. For back-to-school activities, we were able to plan a school-wide assembly shouting out to all the fall sports of our school. This assembly consisted of many games such as dodgeball and having the cheer team lead the school in many of our favorite cheers. Most recently, student government has been planning our most beloved fall traditions and events. This has included the Emotion Bowl and homecoming that follows the week after. We are excited to be planning these highly anticipated events and are excited to see how they turn out in the next few weeks.
Any questions for Maren?
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Compass Academy.
Hi, I'm Mia Brown. I'm Compass Academy's communications director, and we've been planning a couple things, probably not as busy with homecoming as the other high schools might be, but we still do a Emotion Bowl assembly every year, and we are currently in the process of creating different activities for the students to do throughout all of next week. For the first week of school, we had an assembly welcoming everybody back, and the day before we also had a new student day, so we brought in all of the new students, introduced them to their new school, and helped them out with pretty much anything they needed. So student council has currently been working on, of course, the Emotion Bowl week, and then we are also going to start planning a like haunted house fundraiser after we are done with the Emotion Bowl. So yeah.
So thank you so much. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Emerson High School. All right. I would encourage the students to stay for the celebrations that are coming up, and then after that, I know you're all busy. You can leave. So we will start with our celebrations.
We have two celebrations this evening, celebrating National Merit Semifinalists from Compass Academy in Idaho Falls High School. Dan, do we have those here with us tonight?
Shelley, you want to come?
What's that?
You want to come? Present your national merit?
I didn't bring anything. Okay. Yes. Claire McCarthy, representing Compass Academy, is a national.
Clara, stand up, please.
I didn't tell her he had to do his feet.
Very briefly, just tell us your feelings, how you got here, very briefly.
I'm glad that I got here, I guess.
What year are you in school and what did you do to become national merit finalists?
All right, I'm a senior. I studied the test beforehand. I've been taking AP classes, stuff like that.
What are your plans after high school?
I've been thinking of going to vet school.
Very nice.
It's a great accomplishment, Clara.
Very well,
Very good.
congratulations.
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 Thanks for letting us put you on the spot.
Oh, and you have papers.
So this is Susanna Shuck. She qualified as a national merit semifinalist this year. The national merit is 1.5 million people apply for it or attempt the test, and then the top 50,000 qualify for some form of recognition. And we're at the 16,000 level. So both of these kids are in the top 16,000. Everybody who took the test, and then there's finalists where we'll give notification later for that. So, Savannah, you want to tell them a little bit about your plan after high school?
To go to college after I graduate high school and study science.
Are you a senior now?
Yeah, I'm a senior.
Where do you plan to go to school?
What?
Where do you plan to go to school?
BYU.
Very good.
Well done.
Thank you. All right, students and your families, if you don't want to stay, we understand. So you're excused. Next up is the superintendent's report.
Tonight we have Mike Clements with us from Bateman Hall to give us a construction update. I'd like to invite Mike up to the podium.
Hey, Mike.
Welcome. We're
Feel good?
How are you?
Better?
So just in summary on this report, I think everyone knows where Raviston is at right now. So I'm hoping all the games are going good. I haven't got to see one yet, but I'm assuming everything's good. Yeah, feels quite nice. Seating repairs, Aaron's got a visit set up with one of the major players in that, and we're hoping to get at least one, maybe two more to come up and visit too. So we'll start prepping that to bid this winter and have a number to put that together this spring too, of course, because it's going to be important to do that this next year. The lighting upgrade is complete too. How's that been? Good.
I'll say this, we announced the new Robson Stadium at the Skyline game and there wasn't much of a applause. Then at halftime when the team came out and we did a little light show, everybody went nuts. So that should
Awesome.
tell you what they think about lighting.
I know what little videos I saw looked really cool. Administration building, we're still waiting for a permit. I don't have an updated status on it. It should be kind of expecting any day now. I think we're just probably about as far as we can go without it. We've kind of pushed the lines and limits a little bit, but we're ready. When we get it permitted, it'll be full steam ahead. There's a lot ready to happen at that point in time. Idaho Falls Electrical upgrade, they got quite a bit done over the summer months, significantly more than we expected. We're still waiting on some materials, and there is a little bit of change order work that they want to do with some lights that'll actually complete the upgrade. Some lights that come up after the fact that they'll get that incorporated and taken into, and down to probably, I want to say 15%, but realistically it's probably more like less 10% of the project on the end. And CTE is really, it's in occupancy. I know they're down to taking miscellaneous things, still some final cleanup, and pretty much punch list stuff on it. So a lot of things wrapped up this month on it, for all these projects really. And then TAC, they did get a surveyor this week. They have it ready. His equipment is supposed to, he thought he was going to have it here earlier this week, but looking like Friday. And he'll get really going on the grading and everything out there next week. And we'll start installing that. So I was hoping it was going to be this week. That's what he kind of prepped us for, but he got caught up coming off of another project. Won't get here till later this week and keep going.
Do you think you'll still get it planted this fall?
I'm not anticipating that. I know between the landscaper and the dirt worker, that's their goal, but I still don't have a reply back from an engineer on when we're getting the pump yet.
Okay.
So the pump really is the
It's the driver.
factor that's going to determine whether we can plant or not. Come fall.
Great. Thanks, Mike. I just walked out to Ravston before here because I heard the track was painted and it looks fantastic. So job well done. Appreciate it. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Well, we appreciate your faith in us. I know there was a few different times this year. The crews come through. HK did a bang up job, and we had some good help on our side taking care of this too. So.
Mike's never used as a 4-letter word, just so you know.
It's okay, I understand.
Thank you, Mike. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you very much. High reliability schools reports. We want to start with Templeview?
Sure.
Yeah, we have Sarah Childers from Templeview here to talk about their HRS progress.
We want to emphasize that we have 10 minutes, so.
I was told 5, so.
Five words.
I'm Sarah Childers, principal of Templeview. I was just with you in June, if you remember, and I reported a little bit about our Chief Science Officer program and going to Louisville, as well as working with Happyville Farms and our cooperation with that project last year. So I'm not going to allude to those things. I'm just going to quickly give you a brief run through of some of our celebrations, some of the things we're working on, and our goals for the school year. We're excited to be certified HRS Level 3 and STEM certified through Cognia. All right, great. So that's one of our celebrations. The great thing is this is our 4th year being STEM certified through Cognia. Each year the state gives us $10,000 to continue our STEM program. When we recertify after next fall, we will then receive $5,000 and be certified for the next 6 years. Our other celebration is after several years of raising money, we did install our new kindergarten playground with the fence system. And we had a lot of PTO support with that. So we're really excited to have that in.
Was that a matching program or did
Yes.
you fund that? I was with
Yeah,
that.
one of our matching funds. And it took a couple years to save up enough to do it. So yeah, it's exciting. The focus is always academic achievement. We've made lots of improvements in our academic achievement. This is our 4th year doing all-day kindergarten for all students, and we're really seeing that pay off as those kids move on through. So we have really high numbers. I just got my final report today for our iStation, and 2nd, 3rd grade, they're just coming in like at 65% proficient, and that's where they're coming in. So we're super excited for the growth and that they're retaining the growth through the summer.
We would like to reestablish our after-school and student-led activities. Due to COVID, those after-school robotics programs, et cetera, have been on hold, and it's our goal to get those going again this year. We're going to continue with our Chief Science Officer program, and one of our goals has always been to display student work. So while students are eating in the cafeteria, we can display their projects on our large screen there. We've also installed new large screens throughout the school. So this is our trophy case across from our gym, and we have a really large screen TV, and then we have one in another hall that we can also play continuously throughout the day so students can showcase their work. As I mentioned, we also focus on meeting our 10 STEM standards. We will recertify. It was 11 when we first certified, and then the last 3 years it's been 16 standards. So we're super excited to only have to prove 10 standards this year. But they're always in our forefront of how we engage in STEM, how we provide professional development in STEM for our teachers, as well as communicate and work with the community and our parents. Temple View has a model of instruction. We have 24 elements, and it's something we're always working on. Our staff make goals based off our model of instruction, and we reevaluate those goals every trimester. We put our goals up in our staff development room where I meet with teachers every Tuesday, so it's always in our forefront of improving instruction. So for our school goals, we definitely want to recertify for STEM. We were the first school in 2018 in the state of Idaho to recertify. There's 3 of us recertifying in April, and we hope to be the first to be the second to recertify. It's a little competition and keeps it fun. We would be glad to certify HRS level 4 and 5 if the board wants us to. It does take funds. There's only 2 domains in level 4 and only 3 in level 5. Just to give you a perspective, there are 8 in level 1. So it's something we've already looked at. We've done surveys and we feel very confident we could certify for those, but again, it takes funds if that's something you'd like us to do. We will continue working on HRS level 1 through 3, increase our student achievement. Our other goals to update our library's nonfiction. We did last spring by nonfiction section, took an average of the books. In some sections of our nonfiction, our books are averaging 40 years old. And so we have many more that are older than that. We've updated like some STEM books and stuff, but it's something that we really need to look at if we want to keep that. And then we want to update our main playground equipment. It hasn't been updated for a long time, so we'd like to raise some funds with our PTO to do that as well. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns?
I'd say with your HRS level 4 and 5, bring us a proposal on what the funds would.
Well, it's to pay for the levels of
Yeah.
progression.
Right,
That's the discussion we need to have to see if we want them to do it.
exactly.
I think we should have that discussion. I don't think she needs to apply or perform or prepare anything. It's whether we want her to do it or not.
Isn't that the question?
You can get us a question on that, right?
I don't think cost is the question.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shelley.
I could not tell where Sarah was aiming. Jess, would you mind?
My computer, yep.
So I'm Shelley Smead. I'm the principal at Compass Academy, and I did want to talk about some of our celebrations. I too am going to keep it short. I'm exhausted. I looked in my rearview mirror to make sure my hair was right, and I realized I hadn't painted my eyebrows on today, and I'm like, that's just, it's whatever, you know? So here I am, eyebrowless, and now you know. Okay, so Compass is fully staffed with highly qualified faculty and staff working on project-based learning. They're all trained in project-based learning and high reliability schools. Okay, they're on it. They're awesome. We're having a new teacher meeting tomorrow. We have a third of our teachers are new. A third, 8 of the 24. We also earned HRS level 1 certification in June. We got to announce our merit scholarship top 16,000, so we're loving that. We were able to, we actually lost a few electives when some of the CTE teachers moved into the CTE building. So we were allowed to hire a half-time family and consumer science teacher. She is a firecracker. She has already written a $21,000 grant to refill that beautiful kitchen with all kinds of good new stuff. Also, our students, every student in Compass who has a math class is taking Algebra 1 all the way through calculus. I did the math, 93% of our students, even without it being required, are still doing it. They're in math, and that just delights me. And so we did start doing math labs, as some of the other schools are doing, and that seems like it's going great. We have 45 of our students in CTE programs, which thank you so much for all of the work put forth in the CTE program. It is amazing. Our kids are feeling like professionals, like they're really going somewhere and seeing fresh motivation. And I think we usually have about 10. So to go to 45 is amazing. We also have 284 college credits signed up for so far through CEI and University of Idaho, so lots of dual enrollment happening. And of course, we have new security. All we have to do is do our little badge, and the kids are cool about it. They're not propping the doors, they're being good sports. And so we just, again, thank you so much for investing in the safety and the academic focus of our school. So next slide, Jess. All right, so the first week was amazing. Okay, just real quickly, the mayor came and talked to us. Our theme was community, and we actually, the transportation department was the best. They got us enough buses that we could send like 400 or 500 students out across the entire city, just doing all kinds of service projects and Parks and Rec. It was a blast. I still have kids who call me Sunburn because I think they can't remember my name and they just remember I was very red-faced after that. All right, next slide. All right, so areas of focus. We continue to work on the areas on, all of them. You have to keep going. You have to keep doing everything really well. So the ones for level 1, the leading indicators are just, facilitator decision-making, PLCs, input and feedback from both of our parents and our teachers, and acknowledging the success of everybody in our building. For level 2, we are thrilled, one more click there, to be focusing. This is our goal this year is to certified level 2, and we're focusing on our model of instruction, which again, we're a little bit unique because our official model of instruction is project-based learning, but it is like he was in both of them. So we feel really confident that all of the Marzano research is an exact match. So it's great. Professional growth plans, we just talked about IPLPs in the faculty meeting this morning. We're monitoring instruction, doing good evaluations. We're having monthly meetings with the teachers, and we've done job embedded professional development. So the teachers can earn a credit through all the time that they meet with me, meet with the dean of students, do all of their evaluations. They are doing 2 walkthroughs every single month, instructional rounds, to make sure that they're seeing what's going on, and we're keeping records of that data of all that. So the job embedded professional development is huge. Okay. And then finally, our school goals, we want to make sure that we are above 90%. 92% is safe, but we want to make sure we're above 90% in our graduation rate. Our dean of students, I just have to give her kudos. She is amazing. I told her, I said, your main role is just making sure kids are on track to graduate, and she is killing it. She's amazing. So we want to do that. We also want to successfully onboard our new faculty and staff. I want to make sure that all 8 individuals who joined our staff are happy and supported and loving it and learning and empowered. So that's another thing. We want to get HRS level 2 certification because we're already gathering on the data. We thought, why not become a new tech spotlight school? So we're going to throw that in the mix. We're already doing a lot of the work. And then we have a school success rubric that's specific to the new tech network. But again, if you look at the focus there, college for readiness, meaningful instruction, purposeful assessment, supportive culture. It's like they're talking to each other beautifully. All right, I think the next slide is Q&A. So.
Shelley.
QR or HRS level 2, what's your goal? What's your date?
Well, honestly, I think that we could probably do it by March. Yes.
Awesome. Any other questions for Shelley? Great job, Shelley. Thank you. Okay. Finance update.
So the audit's about 60% complete. They will report in the second meeting in October and not the first. She has to report at several school districts on the same night, and our actuarial report is a little delayed. It's because we have to wait on actuaries. Anyway, so she'll be here at the business meeting in October to report. I am working with both Caldwell and Bonneville on some stuff with the State Department and reporting. Hopefully we'll have some good news. And Hillary and I met and discussed some of the financial statement reporting, and I ordered you guys some books on how to interpret it so that prior to the statement coming out in October, if people approach you with questions as we go forward with the bond, you should have some ready access stuff that you can look at, and hopefully, if you have any questions, you can ask me, but it might provide you with some talking points that are helpful when people ask you complicated questions about financial statements and you're not an accountant. So, any questions?
Thank you very much, Angela.
No problem.
Patron input. Did you receive anything, Janice?
No patron input.
Very good. Investment in education update. Hillary.
I think we are, moving forward with our educational outreach on the bond. Starting to meet with a lot of community groups and teacher groups and different people. Greatly appreciate everybody's efforts in participating, giving us feedback. We've asked everybody continue talking to people. The best way to, get the word out about the bond is talking to everybody you see. So I just really encourage people to, everybody in this room is the people that are the best and most knowledgeable about why it's so important. So we just ask that everybody just keep it up, get through the next 6 weeks and get as much information out there as we can.
I think, Dr. Shink, we have a meeting with Kiwanis Club tomorrow.
We do, yes.
That'll be a
Yes,
good one.
so,
Yep.
so yeah, we have a number of meetings lined up with community organizations.
And
First
school
one being
events.
tomorrow, school events.
Yep, so we'll be at all the choir concerts, all,
We're on their agenda.
carnivals.
Encourage questions.
Very good. Thank you to Hillary and Paul for heading this charge. We appreciate that. Okay, IFEA report. Julie. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Okay, so long agenda, so we're gonna be really fast. We have our new hire in ESPP tonight. Tomorrow, 5 to 7 at Skyline. Around, we'd love to have you there. We've got some games planned for the kids that come, and we have pizza and salad and cookies and all that good stuff. So it should be a good time, 5 to 7 at Skyline. And then too distracted there. The only thing we're gonna do is just introduce you to our new board tonight. So for this school year, we have our K3 rep is Taylor Barrett, and she is over at Teresa Butler.
Stand up, please.
Normally they'd say that to me and I'm already standing, but okay. Our 4 to 6 rep is Jess Watkins, so she's over at Dora Erickson. Our middle school rep is Jennifer Liu, and she is at Eagle Rock. Our high school representative is Sharon Oliver, and she's at Idaho Falls High School. Our special education representative is Laurie Jackson, and she is from Edgemont. Our ESP representative is Destiny Handy, and she's at Skyline. Our Region 6 representative, Jared Hardy, she's at Idaho Falls High School. Our retired rep is John Conquergood, and he is retired. We're all jealous. Our treasurer is Jake Snark. He's not here because it's band rental equipment night. So he's at Taylorview this year. Our secretary is Morgan Hammond, and she's at Dora. Our past president is Laura Milton, and she is also at Dora Erickson this year. And our president-elect, Jessie Donnelly, she's at Skyline. That's all we have for you, so thank you.
Great, thank you.
Usually I didn't know you played the drums.
That's not me, that's good. You gotta go to the other side.
Your name's up there.
That's how the overtake. Oh.
See, it's not your best side either.
Okay, really fast, a couple of other items. The ISBA Region 6 meeting is Wednesday, October 19th at 6. We probably need to let Jess know if anybody can make it. If there's 3 of us, we'll need to post. So take a look at your schedules and let her know. Friday, we've got the Skyline Homecoming Parade at 1. We should probably post for that if you haven't already, because I would imagine there's at least Oh, you can't make it? I'll be there and I'll be there,
I'll
I'll
be
be there.
there. I think
Just
the three of us.
I'll be there as well.
All three of us.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And then Friday, September 30th is the IF. Great, so
I can't.
You
I will, yes. Will either of you be at the IF parade?
I will.
Okay, great. Good, thank you. All right, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move that we adopt the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say
Can
aye.
we hold 1 second? I think we're supposed to have discussion or something. I just want to make sure that got removed.
It's removed.
It's removed.
Okay. Thank you. There it is.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The first of our proposals, CTE graduation requirement.
Okay, I don't see Bev. Oh, there she is. Way back there.
How are you guys?
How are you?
Hanging in?
Congratulations.
Day by
It looks
day.
like a beautiful facility you put
Yeah,
together.
thank you very, very much for everything you've done for our CTE students. We have a phenomenal facility. The hands-on learning has been amazing. I was pretty excited last Friday, every single class. I was doing hands-on stuff, nice tasty treats. We were making sparks in our welding room, that's what my welding instructor calls it. So we have a lot of amazing things going on in the facility. So thank you very much for all you've done for our students. We really appreciate that.
If I could,
Yes.
we met with INL today. Would you just do a 30-second brief on our meeting with Jen Jackson so the board's updated on that?
Yeah, so we've met with Jen Jackson with the INL. As you all know, we did the memorandum of understanding with them to help us improve our facility, our programs, equipment. And so we're working with her to hopefully get more help from the site. We have a long laundry list of needs that we really still need for the facility. So we met with her today and we have some ideas moving forward to try and promote the program more, get our students more equipment that we need that I thought I had, but I don't. So we kind of met with her for a while, discussed all of that. So we're looking forward to that continued partnership and hopefully getting a little more money to help us with the things that we are lacking. So do you have any questions on that or anything? That's great.
If I recall, 40 students went to their internship.
Yes, that is true. 40 students. And I think, 12, 11?
11,
were
12 from IF.
From our district, yes. And then we hope to expand that next year to get more of our students in. And if you don't know what that is, the kids are hired by the site as an intern in the summer and they get paid. And they also train our industrial mechanics teacher to go and work as well. He couldn't go last summer, so our welding instructor went and they paid him for his time this summer as well. So they hope to expand that program next year and get more of our students involved. So that's a good thing. And one more good thing is last June, we signed a student to the apprenticeship program. And I have another student that's gonna start another one next week. So, and then I have another female that I might be putting in as well, so. They make $34 an hour, all benefits, 401k, retirement, dental, health. It is, and they pay for their education. So I'm working on my third kid in that program, so I'm wondering why I'm in education. I should have done a welding job.
Can we challenge you, Margaret, or Dr. Shank? Can you challenge your team to get this good news out to the
We
public?
will, yeah.
Oh, yes, we definitely.
We had just met with her today, but
Yeah.
we'll get
Okay.
It's in progress, but I got another one coming, so I'm very excited about that. My student is very excited about that. He wants a new truck. So that's his goal. I told him to think a little smaller and let's plan for school in the future, but all he sees is a Dodge truck, so. That's
Whatever the motive is.
Bev, what's the total enrollment?
We are at around 350 students total.
And what's the capacity?
Morning and
How much
afternoon.
can we grow to?
Well,
Is that
250 students in the building at any given time. That is my answer. There's a big sign posted on the door, so.
That's like form.
Yes, that is my answer. Do I want to go bigger? Absolutely. Do I have room? Absolutely. We just need to get the word out, let the students know that what they can do with our programs. All of our programs are going to be dual credit. Most of our students are already receiving that anyway. So I think our pharmacy tech earns up to 12 credits, our CNA earns up to 9, certified nursing assistants when they get out. Our EMTs are earning 9 to 12 as well. So we're just kind of rubbing the surface on that right now. So it's awesome to see. Okay, so I'm here about the CTE graduation requirement that the state of Idaho has approved. And I believe that Jess forwarded you, everybody has this form right here. So generally speaking, and just to make it short and sweet, the CTE teachers, as long as they work with the core teachers, so I'll use an example as banking and finance. Banking and finance covers everything that business math does or math in the modern world. But as it stands right now, math in the modern world is the only way the students can receive a math credit. CTE has it approved through the state that if you teach banking and finance and you make sure you're making the requirements from banking and finance as well as math in the modern world, the district as a whole can determine or allow those requirements to count as a core credit. So how that works on our end, if a kid already has their math credit, it'll be a CTE credit. But if they need that math credit, they can get math credit from taking banking and finance. Another example would be if I had a teacher that taught business economics, as long as she taught more of the history curriculum, the students can receive that economics credit through CTE. There is a varied amount of classes that also count. I know I've met with Chris Smith. Chris and I, if this is something that you would let us move forward with, we take it a little at a time. The easiest one right now is banking and finance and math in the modern world. That's a very slick and easy mend. The other classes we would need to work with Chris, and we're willing to do that work to facilitate to make sure that we get all the standards met for both CTE and the core requirements. There is a lot of other things we can do. In my mind, I think we've just got a few that we should focus on at first before we went too crazy. The benefits of this, as far as I can see, number one, graduation rate. I think that's going to be a huge factor in helping with our graduation rate. I know that, we might have a great relationship in the CTE program that we might not have in a core class or vice versa. So it gives that opportunity for those students to get those credits from that. I also look at it as a scheduling standpoint. I know when I was teaching that there always seemed to be a need for one more economics teacher, but not the need for a full-time economics teacher. So by mending business economics and economics, you could still use the CTE teacher to fulfill that requirement, yet make sure we still have enough room for an FTE if necessary. So that would be another benefit that I would like to propose. So if you've read through any of that, do you have any questions? Do you want me to elaborate more? Just trying to take it in baby steps right now. I mean, our science, one huge one right now is our computer science area. At the Career and Technical Education Center, Kathy Owen is my phenomenal lady. And nobody gets her but me. I say that because Shelly's hopefully still in the room. But there she is, so it's all good. It's just an inside joke between Shelly and I. So Kathy is phenomenal, and Kathy can teach everything. She is going to be only the second teacher in the state of Idaho to be certified to teach cybersecurity. So we are implementing that at the CTE Center this year. She is working with Boise State, College of Eastern Idaho, and Idaho State for our students to get dual credits. That being said, that is also an area that could be a math credit or a science credit, depending on what we do. So hers is one program that we can do various things with. And she is very regimented, and the kids learn a lot when they walk out of her room. She's already had people come to her classes this year that are working on that dual credit, promoting the cybersecurity. She's very engaged. So my top priorities would be business math and or banking and finance. I do believe we really need to take a look at the IT components and see what we could do with that. And I do think an easier mend would be business economics and or economics, whichever way we wanted to go with that. And then just take it a step at a time. Chris and I talked, and we just want to take little bites at a time because it will be quite a bit of work to make sure we cover all that.
Questions? Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Next up is the state graduation math requirement.
That's Chris. There he is.
Lisa's gonna present. And
Lisa and Chris, okay.
We're together.
Yes, you have the presentation.
presentation, I have the,
The little. Lisa's,
If you don't, I can do it with that.
it's in the board agenda. It's one of those.
I don't know if it's in our packet. We've already seen it.
oh, it's a
It's a
PDF.
Doc.
Okay, yes. Do you want me to share it?
Yeah, if you look-
Sorry, you made me nervous. I was like, I
Okay,
don't
maybe
have a
it's a little
PowerPoint.
bit too, Jessica.
Kind of a slam dunk. You either follow the state or you don't. Seems
We
like
made the
no-
PDF from.
Yes, yes.
Did it have lights and lasers?
Lasers on sharks.
So Lisa, you.
Oh, so really the, we're coming to say that we'd like to recommend that we change D91's high school graduation requirements to align with the new state legislation. And then the rest of this PowerPoint kind of goes through the information about how this came to be. So until recently, we had Algebra 1 and Geometry with additional math taken in the senior year as the high school graduation requirement here at D91, aligned with the state's requirement. The history of that is because, the next little slide, just for anyone who's watching. It was to encourage a more seamless transition from high school into college math and help students that have to go back and repeat things. What that led to as an unintended consequence is that students would skip math their junior year, and it led to an interrupted math education in the high school instead of, so they just shifted when they took those math break from math perhaps. So they found it was not that effective. And they just, we really want to encourage students to continue increasing their math education and getting, challenging themselves rather than just taking a break and doing the easiest thing their senior year. So scroll down a little further. Just discussing the rules reduction in HCR 45, which is removing that senior math requirement. They also wanted to encourage people taking math above geometry. And I want to emphasize that it's mathematically advancing students. And because of that, they made another additional change, which is the next section. And that was adding the language, quote, including mathematics taken through career technical education programs, which Bev just addressed. And they also removed the language that if a student's completed Algebra 2 or the equivalent of integrated mathematics standards, then they can go and take the additional advanced engineering classes. And they're now saying, you know what? If this is your course, let's go ahead and say you don't have to take Algebra 2 in order to take the advanced placement computer sciences. That's not a prerequisite anymore. So the idea is that we're going to encourage students to not just take the easy way out, but grow on their path toward graduation. So in summary, what we would say is take 2 credits in Algebra 1 or integrated math 1, take your 2 credits in geometry or integrated math 2, and then take 2 credits in mathematics at the student's choice. That's what the state standard is right now, and we recommend that we change our high school graduation to include that. Taking this year to make that move happen, we can't do it immediately. To be least disruptive, if we can put it in place for the graduating class of 2024 for that graduating class. That was a lot, really fast. Did I breathe? I'm not sure. Just getting information out to you. What questions do you have about that? We can elaborate.
I think you did a great job. Everything's there. Paul?
I just have one comment. I don't know if you meet with the state. I don't know if you guys interact with the state or not. I think we need to do this just because you have to follow what the state does, right? I don't even know why we're approving it because if it's from the state, yeah, I know, but it's like semantics. It's like there's no reason to discuss it really because it's coming down from the state. But my point is if you give feedback to the state, I understand why we're doing this. I can see the interruption during the junior year and if people skip that year. So I understand it. My encouragement would be that I think math should be in all 4 years. It's not difficult. All we're doing is now, instead of having that delay to junior year between the sophomore and senior year, kids aren't going to take math their senior year and they're going to go into college, and with a year without math, they're going to struggle their first year in college. So just speaking for myself as a trustee, I would love to see this change and have math required all 4 years personally. Do
Can't
you
the
ever have feedback?
board go above and beyond the state requirements? This is our minimum.
You can make a
We
policy
go-
decision.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I mean,
Actually, I would love
lean
to
with
see
you.
like a
I would
focus
rather-
group then done on it and get some feedback. I mean, I don't need it from students. I already know what their feedback is.
Seniors.
I got a senior,
You know.
know exactly what his feedback would be. But I'd be interested to get like feedback from all of our math teachers and department heads and
Maybe they should want some CED.
administration
Yep.
and whoever else, administration, because they know students well, and they know what's best for students. I don't know if there would be negative ramifications to that, but I would love to see some additional work. Sounds like Hillary, you're on board too.
Are there any specific questions you would like this group to address as we're working together? Come to mind.
I think is, would requiring 4 years of math versus 3, kind of what's that cost benefit analysis there, I guess? Is it something that would be better for the student and then we eliminate this whole gap issue versus?
Yeah, I'd be on favor with that.
Yep, that sounds like.
Right.
Anything else?
Thank you so much.
Speaking of that, there is a curriculum oversight, that curriculum committee. We have a meeting coming up Monday, the 26th, and we do need one person from the board to be on that. So I'll send an email to you guys at
That's September 26th.
What time on the 26th?
6 p.m.
I'm at Family Fun Night for Edgemont. All right. In Bond.
Well, and I'll send an email on the.
Chris, it's Rosh Hashanah.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you. The first readings of the board policy revisions and review. Everybody had these in their packet. And go ahead, Dr. Sheen.
Okay, we had a few questions come up this week. First was, there's a request we review this on the proposal for the patron complaint form. And to add the sentence, this form is confidential. And
Yes.
just trying to make sure that
Cover
there
all
isn't any
bases.
retaliation and that sort of thing. And then I know that another trustee had a few questions about the nutrition policy. And I don't know if you want to bring those up now or those were answered.
I have had conversations with Jessica and Angela today. My questions have not been fully answered, but I think maybe I need, I'm not sure what the best way to bring them up is, but.
Maybe to set a meeting, do you need to talk with child nutrition?
Let's get everybody in the room.
Yeah, in talking with Angela, I realized they're probably fairly extensive concerns that are not going to be addressed just by a single small change or anything, so.
Okay, let's set a meeting.
And we can table it. We don't need it, we don't need to include it. We can go for another first reading after.
Okay. Very good.
All right, very good.
And other questions satisfied with the parent complaint beyond the one sentence and added? Any
I
other
think so. I
questions?
think that meets what we're after.
Okay, very good. All right, well, that leads us to our first action item, the new bus bid. Any questions for Ralph? I see him here. These are similar to past bids, correct, Ralph? That was me being coy, yes. Any questions?
I have a question. Which vendor did we go with last time?
We went with Bright and Sale, Bluebird.
Okay. That's not the document I wanted.
They giving you a deliverable date, Ralph?
It said June 2023.
That's why I was like, well, can we hold it to that?
We're still waiting on some, aren't we?
Still waiting for the last one.
Yeah. Is anybody prepared with a motion?
I'll move that we approve the new bus bid as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. the athletic gate admission fee increase.
Thanks. We asked for a representative from the high schools to come forward and present this. So is that you, Pat, tonight?
Yeah, representing or just answering questions?
Well, answer questions. Angela, anything to add on this?
No, I believe they're doing it statewide, right?
It's High Country Conference wide. So it was a dollar proposal to the majority of our ticket prices. The primary reason is just to help cover our increased costs that we're seeing. As an example, just inefficient costs alone, it's costing us on average $10 more per official per game. And that's going to increase again next year on top of that. And so the High Country Conference as a group proposed this. So basically every school from Pocatello through Madison that's 4A and 5A is going to be charging the same prices that we're proposing.
For our district, your budget is not based off the gate fees, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
So why do you feel like our district should follow this conference? Why do we need to increase prices? I personally don't see the need to increase prices. I don't know why we have to put a bigger burden on families. Personally, I would love to see our High Desert Conference say, if you have an activity card, you go to any game. I'd much rather a kid from Hillcrest coming to a Skyline game or an IF game and show their activity card and get in for free because they have an activity card from a High Country Conference school. That would be my personal preference. I hate to see us increasing prices, and especially if our only reason is because everybody else is increasing pricing and we don't have a need in our district to increase prices. Why would we increase prices?
I think it's important to stay consistent with everybody else that's around here.
But you know what? We're here to do what's best for District 91 and the patrons of District 91, not the rest of the state.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's just my answer. To say to do what everyone else is doing, I can't buy that.
Okay, I think there is some benefit to staying consistent wherever we're going. If we're going to pay $7 to go, patrons going out to Hillcrest, our parents who go out to watch a game at Hillcrest are going to pay $7 to get in. Then when their parents come to us, I think it would be logical to charge the same price.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, and I don't mean to take it out on you, Pat. I know you're just representing what the High Country Conference has decided, but that just doesn't make sense to me. Let their district explain why they increased price in $1. I do think District 93's budgets are based on gate, so maybe they can justify that. But when ours isn't, and budget's not an issue right now, I just don't understand why we would continue to increase prices to our patrons to come and support their high schools.
Yeah, I think Angela can better explain this, but my understanding is that our gate revenue does get rolled back into our athletic budgets that we have. It's tied in a little bit different than you see out in 93, where the individual schools are actually basically directly collecting that gate money. It stays with the school, and that's their operating budget for the next year for athletics.
Well, they actually do gather theirs, but we used to, I think what Pat means is prior to COVID, we did collect the gate, take off the fees and divide it in two and give it back.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we stopped having revenue from games, like when we had to have limited seating, when we were refunding activity cards, when we were refunding participation fees, we stopped. There's never been any direction that we would continue to not go back to that model once we're fully functioning. We just felt like rather than, make them go off a lot lower budget, since we have funds right now, we would just continue to pay for athletics, until they can be self-sufficient
But
again.
that's my point. We do have funds right now.
Exactly,
There's no
but-
reason for us to increase our prices right now.
But we do, to speak to what Pat's saying, we have the same increased costs that everyone in High Country Conference has. We're paying more for refs, we're paying more for, even just the controls that I've put in place that where we're trying to go to less cash, right?
Yeah.
More controls costs us more money.
Yeah, and
It's not that I think we should raise
I
prices.
don't disagree
just
with that.
think That was the reasoning.
You're right, that's accurate, but we don't have a need to increase pricing right now. Our budget is healthy enough that we don't need to increase prices to our parents, to our patrons, to our people who are supporting their high schools. Personally, I would love if we didn't charge anything at all. I think to have community come out and support kids in high schools and cheer them on and cheer on the band, cheer on the cheerleaders, the athletes, the debate club, whoever. I wish they would show up. Dr. Shake told me earlier today, we've had healthy attendance at both high schools events, healthier than what we've seen in the past. I think that's great. I just do not see a need to increase pricing right now for our public to support our kids. It makes 0 sense to me.
Pat, is there any indication what the increase might be next year? Is there any?
Yeah, I mean, we have, so as an example, this year for a varsity football referee, and we pay $76 plus travel costs. Next year, that's going up to 82. That's for varsity. JV and freshman this year is 59. It's going up to 62. Compare that to last year, and it was 67 is what we were paying for varsity official for football.
So based on that math, we should increase our prices about 3 to 5 cents to cover that additional costs.
I mean, you're talking about what, five or six different officials on each game. So
Okay,
so you're talking about, you know,
so $15, because you're about $3 increase, $3 or $4. So let's say it's $25.
Okay.
It's still going to be a dime, quarter.
well, what do we do with
Nickel?
the increase in the soccer officials? We don't take gate at soccer games.
But
That's something
But
else.
that's not my point. My point is, we have a healthy budget right now. We're not starving for money. Why do we put the burden on families who want to bring their 4 or 5 or 6 children, who are now going to have to pay an additional $5 or $6 to cover a $3 official increase when our budget can absorb that? Why should that family do that?
Our budgets are, like I said before, our budgets operate different than the rest of the high country conference.
That's my
And
point.
that's-
So let them increase prices if they want to. That's their decision. We're making a decision for our district.
Absolutely, and that's why it's a proposal that we're putting to the,
Right, that's why.
that's why
there'll
we're
be a
here.
vote.
I'm not saying
You're
that,
defending why it's going up, and I'm just
But-
asking questions on, I don't see why it should go up. Your budget's not dependent on it.
Well, he's
Um,
reporting the information that he's been given.
Paul, it should be our discussion.
It is our. I'm
No,
asking-
you're not talking to us.
I'm
You're talking
asking
to,
him.
to Pat,
I'm
but
asking
it should be our
questions.
discussion.
Well, it is our discussion. What do you want to discuss?
I want to discuss,
There's no motion on the table. So we are asking questions right now.
We are asking questions. Is anybody prepared with a motion?
I move that we approve the athletic gate admission fee increase. Did I do it right?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, why do you feel? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry.
Larry.
So I've got a question, and I don't know, Pat or Angela, who's got the answer to this. So our current gate fees, and just so everybody, anybody that's listening to this or reads this, what happens with those gate fees right now?
They come to the district. We include them in that revenue number that shows athletics basically, but it's in your fours.
And so, and then from that, the people that are at the gate they
Yes,
get paid
so
from that?
They come out as
Officials get paid from that?
expenses, you know what I mean? So basically you have the revenue, but then we, of course, at the district level, we pay all the officials through payroll. We pay the cost, of the ticket takers as well as any, with stipends and things, that's how they pay the additional coaching staffs, that sort of thing. So it's all basically lumped in to the pot. And then, in the past, we divided it back out, but that hasn't been done for several years because of the constraints upon them.
So, and you said it pays for the stipends for the coaches?
Yeah, so I shouldn't say that because you don't have a direct relation. You have a revenue number that would be all gate received for any games that we collect gate at. As
Doesn't
well
even
as
pay per school.
activity cards go into the same place, and so does people who pay to play. Right, that's all the revenue that would be considered athletic revenue. And then all of the athletic expenses come out on the expense side, but all out of general
Buses,
fund.
transportation, all that comes
Yes,
from those funds?
Ralph gives us the busing information and we bill it back to the sport, but at the district level, not at the school level.
Okay. And can you explain, Pat, if you have the answer to this, which sports collect gate fees?
we collect gates at football, boys and girls basketball, baseball, And then volleyball, yep. And then soccer, softball, we do not collect gate. We do a track when we are out here at Raston. We do a soccer when we play at Raston.
Okay.
Tennis and swim. We have collected at swim, but nothing at golf. Wrestling, thank you. I forgot about wrestling.
Anywhere where we can control the access. Traditionally at soccer, we can't control the access.
If it's like at the soccer
Exactly.
complex or something.
Exactly. Or if they play at a field where we can't, you know, basically you could stand there and watch.
Okay.
Obviously, you're not gonna go through a gate.
And so, just so I'm clear, I understand that we're not doing it now, but are we going to go back where that money then goes back to the sports
So-
programs? Is there, I mean, because to me, that makes it
Yes, it
definitely
does make
cleaner.
it lots easier. So based on the fact that, remember, we had to bring all the student funds into the district because of GASB 84. We brought in athletics by itself so that IF could be its standalone and Skyline could be a standalone and not be over our audit cap. But for this year and last year, what I've asked them all to do is track. So we're tracking the revenues individually by sport. Basically, because you do have exactly what Pat says. You've got people who, you know, I'm a cheerleader, I'm gonna pay an activity fee to cheer, but there really isn't a good way to say, well, what does it cost to cheer, right? So we're coding it all like we traditionally have, and we were planning on meeting in the spring and then discussing, you know, is it evening out? But it's more of, because we're finally back to, I would say, fairly full production, right? There aren't things being canceled anymore, there are events, we can now gather the data and decide. They haven't raised their budgets from what they were pre-COVID. It's not like we're giving them more than we used to. It's just looking at whether or not it's now back to the point where it's supporting itself.
I have a question.
Yes.
What would be the consequences of not taking this increase?
You'd lose $1 a ticket. I mean, it would be very, very hard. I mean, I could look and tell you what gate revenue was last year and we could divide it by the ticket price. But remember, we have a different price depending on whether you have an activity card or, and we don't track it to that level. It comes in as a lump sum from the receipts. So at best, it would be an average, because I don't know whether you have a student ticket or an adult ticket or, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would be really hard, but obviously you could count the people and, you know, maybe you have a number. We don't count bodies, right?
No.
That's the only way you'd ever know. And then you'd have to know what kind of body it is, right? Is it a child? Is it an adult? Is it someone who has an activity card? I would say, I wouldn't be confident in any number we tried to create off the past. But it is, I mean, it is a loss. I don't see, we are right now, like I said, counting. So we could take a year and see what happens. The losers would be us. Obviously, we absorb any loss. At the end of the year, we could come back and discuss what that might have looked like. But I'm not sure unless Pat counts.
No, about the only ones that like your emotion goal is one that we will have a better understanding of how many people are there, because you get to the point where sometimes you have to shut it down. You have to.
Yeah, because you max out.
The rest of our events, very rarely do we get close to. Sometimes I have Sky boys basketball games. We get close to getting to capacity and things like that, but we don't actually keep a log that says, you know, we had 1,500 people in our gym or something
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, I could tell you what each event brought in total gate, but it wouldn't divide it up by person. Although Ralph, do you divide it up on per person when you fill out the slip? Yeah, because the ticket takers, of course, take the revenue in, but when I see it, it comes in as a dollar amount. So I can attribute it to the sport, but I can't tell you how many people are in the building.
I have another question. If we don't institute this increase, what are the chances that we would be faced with a larger increase next year, that we would feel a greater need to
You know, I
institute?
don't have any affiliation with High Country Conference and how
Yeah.
they decide that, so
So this isn't, I can remember, to be honest with you, the last time there was a fee increase that was proposed through the High Country Conference for gate. I obviously don't. It was before I was here as the AD. So since I've been here in the last 5 years, this is the first time that there's been a proposal to increase the admittance.
Okay, can we back up a minute?
Okay.
Who is the High Country Conference and
Country-
why do we want to do what they're asking us to
The
do?
High Country Conference is the organization that we belong to as a member school. Like it's our athletic conference, and it is basically, like I said before, everybody from Blackfoot up that is in 4A is a member of the High Country Conference. It is the governing body that controls our rules and regulations locally as far as how we're going to operate with sports. It's the group that controls what our postseason tournaments look like and things like that. How we're going to determine who's qualifying for state.
So is there a consequence to us within the conference if we don't follow their recommendations?
No, I don't believe there's a consequence. I don't know if there's ever been a situation where schools have not followed what everybody else is doing. So it'd be interesting to see what they say. But yeah, as far as I know, I don't think there's anything written in our
There's
constitution
no
that
way
says
they
that.
could, there's no way they could control our price.
We still pay our refs, we still pay the
We're the
Well,
ones.
and we
ticket
pay the
takers,
money
it's
to
our
high
budget.
country.
No, I
Yeah.
Get a sense of what's actually going on.
They don't have any physical control other than
Something
to
you should know.
uniform the system.
So Angela, with this budget for the athletics, is it running the black? Is it going the red? What is the,
So of course, during COVID,
Sure.
we just, I mean, 'cause essentially, and I'm sure that we did it through the board, we refunded all participation, remember that spring? I think they did well last year. We have not, this is the first year where I said, now we're in full operation, every sport's playing. Now, let's see where we're at. So, I mean, we're really early for me to tell you, but traditionally, yes, although, other than it would fluctuate slightly, $5,000 or $10,000 maybe, between the two. Does that make sense? We always divided it equally between the two high schools but that's what I mean by their current budget isn't any higher than it was pre-COVID. We just kept giving them the same number, but we were no longer saying you have to produce the $120,000 we're giving back to you in gate.
So Pat, I have a two-part question. Has the conference ever had a family price and has the district ever thought about having family price? for any
We do.
activity?
We have family passes that are set up through School District 91, where you can buy a season family pass
To attend.
to attend games.
Is that the one that's like $200 or?
It varies. It varies based on I think we offer 6 different packages. I didn't bring with me. Ralph, you know where
But we offer free passes to people over 65, and I don't know that all districts do that.
I'm just thinking of, families with little kids, with older brothers playing football and you've got, I took my kids, I'm an exception. I was able to get in free, but then you pay for everybody else that's with it. It's not.
So Angela, can I ask one more question really quick? So this money, if we raise this price, it goes back to the athletic program?
No,
It goes to general fund. No, it's ours.
Okay, so prior to that, it would have went to the athletic program?
Yes, so.
Okay, so are we working to get it so it goes back to that? If we raise
Yes.
this, can we
Well,
get it so it
okay,
goes back to the athletic program?
Let me clarify. We are, but
Okay.
solely for tracking purposes. We will never move athletics out of general funding because of the
Right.
new law.
But it's their budget that's
But yes,
hitting there, their budget.
The
this is
expectation
part
would
of
be
it.
that whatever, but keep in mind, these are still student funds, so let's say they had a banner year, they would get more money. We would never absorb it in other departments.
So this goes back to.
Yes,
the
whatever they
schools
collect
and
is
the
gonna go back
athletics.
into
So
athletics.
in some ways, we are giving them more money to,
Yes.
so when, instead of maybe having to do Grizz cards and sell $200 worth of Grizz cards, I only have to sell 100.
Yes, because
I think that's accurate. We've never given gates back to the athletic departments.
we do, yes. It's absorbed as a total. We pay the fees for
Because
the,
you'll always have 20 Grizz cards.
I know, but, well, I won't,
Because
I'm
this
done.
will have
But-
nothing to do with the fundraising that our teams are required to.
so I think that you're speaking about athletic activities outside of the school. So you've got athletic participation,
No, I'm
and then you
talking
would
about
have
what Hillary
Yeah, I'm
and I are talking about is,
fundraising.
club.
no, not club.
No.
Where
no.
the football team sells a card that you can get a discount around in things around town and each player is required to sell 10,
but-
20,
10 of them. for
10
$40, yeah.
cards.
But they're required to sell it to participate in football?
No.
It's not a requirement, but
Let's
it's.
be careful.
As a
with
fundraiser,
this. Our-
But those fundraisers go back into football clubs.
Yes, yeah, no,
Not.
no, they go back.
So
into the
maybe I
football
got us,
program.
I maybe got us off track.
The name of the account's football club.
Yeah,
So-
it does not
so-
come back to the district.
Well, come on, let's be semantics. It goes into the football program.
Okay,
I don't care what it's called. It goes into the football.
But keep in mind, those are two separate funds.
Dr. Shank has a question.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
had a question from the very beginning.
He deferred to
I
me.
deferred to her and
And I
then I've
jumped in.
Yeah.
had 5 or 6 jump in since then, but go ahead, Dr. Shank.
If High Country Conference had not made this recommendation, would District 91 have a problem paying its bills at its current rate?
No.
That's the answer I'm after, not whether or not High Country Conference wants to
And I
raise the
think
rate.
that's a great point. And the other point I'd like to make, that I don't know if Elizabeth's aware of this. Do you know what we charge parents for their kids to play in activities?
Charge something
$120.
for sport,
Per
100
sport.
seconds.
And then $100 for the second sport or activity. You know, band is $120. It's not just a sport, an activity, $120. The second activity is $100. The third activity is $80. So we're asking parents to pay $120 just for their child to participate. And then if I want to watch my child participate, instead of charging $6, the proposal is to now charge them $7 just because everybody else is. So it's $120. If I have a family of 5 that I'm taking to the game, because we all know in the community that we live in, larger families than average. If I want all of the siblings to go watch their sibling play, it's an additional, if it's a family of 5, mom, dad, and 3 kids, it's going to be an additional $5 for them to go. I would challenge our boosters I would rather challenge our boosters to increase participation, to get more community people to the game and increase revenue that way than increase ticket prices. I think Dr. Shank just made an excellent point. And I hate to see us when we're charging them $120 just to participate. And then we want to make it even more expensive for them to go and support their child when it's not needed. We have funds to apply to this. We're not hurting. Why would we increase prices when it's not needed?
So can I make a motion to table this? I'm
Do we
making a
need to-
motion
I
to
think
table this,
Elizabeth would need
please.
to remove her.
I think I can table with a motion on the table, correct?
Table motion.
Yeah, so I'm making a motion to table this at this time.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Yeah. You could let it fall for a lack of a second.
Right.
6 months down the road, we come back and like, hey, we're starting
Yeah.
to
That works.
bleed
That's a
from
good
this.
idea.
Then we need to increase. We need to do it at that
Table.
time.
And then we could add 2 and then.
Yeah, we'll have
make
to
it-
table.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you, Pat.
Then we need to vote on the tabling of the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
For another day. Continuous improvement plan draft.
Okay, you have the draft before you. It is due to the state by October 1st. And there are some NAs that you probably noticed in boxes on 2 pages. Just be aware that we will fill those in as soon as we receive data from the State Department. They will have that information to us very soon. And we're waiting on them, and they're a little bit slower. The second page with the NA on it is the same context. And then there's another page that is brand new. I'm trying to pull mine up. It's
Now the
just getting-
internet connection.
and so it's the one that has the kindergarten data that's on there. It's brand new to us. So you'll see NAs, 1 year NAs, and then the percent of that our goal is. So that's some explanation real quick about that. I shared with you at our retreat that we got together as an entire administration to put these things, these goals together. There's buy-in across our system. And then I do appreciate the page of explanation that has some good information about our graduation rate improvement plans that's there. Some good objectives, some good activities that should help raise that rate. And you heard from Shelley tonight that that's one of their school goals. So we think there's some great things going on there. Gail Rochelle is sitting in the back there. She helps put this plan together. It's a good plan. I appreciate the effort that's gone into it here. And then as we indicated to you, our goals are at least at state average or above. So I'd entertain any questions that you might have.
Anyone with any questions for Dr. Shank or Gail? Anyone prepared with a motion?
I'll move that we approve the continuous improvement plan as presented.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then our SRO agreement.
This
Department.
This is an annual renew. Any questions that you might have specific to this contract? The city has approved it.
I don't remember what the number was last year, but I'm just curious, what kind of a percent of an increase in pay does this represent toward SROs?
Angela, do you know that?
I didn't see the new contract. Can you tell me the
I
dollar
don't
amount?
believe, there weren't any changes to the contract.
I don't think the contract.
The contract doesn't have
I don't see it there.
Yeah, it has
Uh,
percents.
But Larry, we can
Yeah,
we
it's
can
just a
get that figure
percentage.
for you.
Yeah, I'm just curious if they get a raise, if that's,
So we pay their rate because we don't bring them into our payroll system. So
Okay.
generally, we pay the cost of the actual officer. The last couple of years, it's been quite a bit cheaper because we started with younger officers. We had a transition, 3 years ago? So we actually pay the cost. So the longer they're in service, the more we pay. Does that make sense? But we pay for the 9 months that they're with us, that portion of their pay at the city's rate.
okay,
So if there's any increase, it would be whatever their next tier was, you know.
okay, so they're on a tier level as.
Yeah, it's similar to ours. It would be whatever officer level they're at.
Okay.
And we did we get one new one last year? Brand new, so they would.
We're
after
looking
it.
at.
Yes, we're after a new one, but we still, if we got a new one that was an existing officer, we'd pay the rate of that officer.
Okay.
So the longer they're here, I guess, the more they cost us. Exactly, but they literally, we pay their exact cost, whatever they'd be paid if they worked for the city.
Thank you. It's our recommendation. The board approved this.
Is anyone prepared with a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the school resource officer agreement as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion or questions?
I have a question. Angela just said that we only pay for 9 months, but it seems to say that we pay irrespective of whether school is in session. So now I'm confused.
Well, it gets probably split out like teachers.
Yeah,
get split out for a
it's
full
similar to
year's
the
worth of pay.
12 months of pay, but we pay for when they're working.
That or if we canceled school for some disaster. We had to do something that kids weren't allowed. to.
Yeah, well, exactly. When we closed in
Okay.
March, we would have paid them through the end of the contract
Okay.
period.
I understand now. Thank you.
Okay. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, then I just need a motion to adjourn.
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You going to the game?
I'll see if I can.
Thank you, everybody.